up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Hey, hello. My name is Angela and I make videos about law school, lawyer life, and all things in between. Today's video I am super excited to make because it has been highly requested. We're going to be talking all about why people quit big law, why they leave big law. Now, as you guys know, I am a big law attorney. I have been through the entire span of my 6-year career, and I practice mergers and acquisitions law. And I've had a lot of you guys talk to me about some of the horror stories and rumors that you hear about big law. I have done videos on why I chose big law, and I have promised to do videos on the cons and why people leave big law, and that's what we're going to be getting into today. Now, a couple things. First thing, please excuse my voice. I am very hoarse. I had a crazy weekend this weekend. I had my wedding, I got married, and as you can tell by my voice, had a lot of fun. Second thing is, I think it is very important for me to do this video. One, because you guys have asked, but also two, because I have the experience. A lot of times when you talk to people about big law, it's people who haven't been in it, right? I remember in law school, I remember other law school classmates saying, oh, I would never do that. There's horror stories, the hours are demanding, it's crazy, you know, just all sorts of horror stories, but they were in law school like me. They had not been through it. I hear other lawyers talk about it who have not gone down that path. And so I think it's important for me and others like me who have been through the experience or who are currently in the experience like me to talk about it from our perspective so that you can get sort of like a balanced view. I've talked about the positives and I've talked about why I went down the big law path, and now I'm going to talk about why people typically leave. So let's jump right in. So before we do that, let's talk about what is big law. For some of you guys, I'm sure many of you guys have heard the term, but let's just talk about what it is for those who haven't. So big law is just sort of a coined term for a large law firm that employs over 100 people. It's typically headquartered in your larger cities like New York, DC, Chicago, etc. And these big law firms pay top of the market salary. They also tend to have corporations as clients rather than individuals, and you do high level and very challenging and demanding work. In the legal profession, big law has like an air of prestige to it, and so that's kind of what I'm talking about when I say big law. Now that we know what big law is, let's jump into why people leave big law. So people tend to be very demanding in big law, and when I say people, I mean your clients, I mean the people you work for, the people you work with tend to be super demanding. With that demand, you're pretty much expected to always be on call, right? So, you know, in a typical job, you go to work at 9 or 8 and you leave at 5:30 and you're done for the night. That is not how it works in big law. I've gotten emails and texts and calls at nighttime on the weekends and have been expected to be responsive. The reason for this is because client service is top priority for, you know, these big law firms. So what the client wants, the client gets is sort of our mentality. And so even if the client's demands are seemingly unreasonable, we must service them and answer their demands. So that results into, you know, just a pretty demanding job. The next reason people leave big law is hustle culture. You guys, in big law, hustle culture is so real. Everyone is always looking to work more or asking you to work more. In big law, there's a such thing as called a billable hour requirement that you must meet. You must bill a certain amount of hours at your law firm, and it can span, depending on the firm, it can span from 1,800 to like 2,400 hours. It just depends on the firm and the high demand of the firm. So with that, if you say your billable hour requirement is 2,000 hours, if you meet that, it still doesn't feel like enough. It still feels like you should be doing more because there's always going to be somebody doing more. So it results in sort of like a rat race, hustle culture environment. And some people cannot take that, and some people are so pressured by that. Like, you have your people who are like, I met my billable hour requirements, I did good work, I'm good. But a lot of people see other people working harder and harder and crazier, and they just feel the need to keep going and going. So that could be super stressful. Along those same lines, like, One common question you get when walking the halls or talking to people is, oh, you staying busy? You staying busy? You're staying busy? Hustle culture is real in big law. The next thing is billable hours. Like I just talked about, the big law firms have these billable hour requirements. So you need to be on track to bill those hours to kind of meet the expectations of the firm. So that can be very, very tricky, especially if you have a slow month. You don't feel good about having a slow month because you know you have billable hour requirements to meet. You know, you say I'm out for a week or 3 days or whatever, and then you know you need to kind of make up those billable hours because you have a requirement to meet at the end of the year despite what vacations or breaks or whatever that you take. So that can be very, very stressful. On top of that, not only are you expected to bill, you need to track and enter that time. So on top of working a lot, you need to be tracking your time and entering it into the time management system because that is how law firms get paid. So some people just don't like the idea of billing time, having that requirement, one, and two, tracking and entering time. Because if you work, you know, say for a corporation, they don't necessarily do that. If you work in-house, you don't necessarily have to bill time, or even at some smaller law firms, you don't have to enter and track your time. So that's a big one. The next reason why people leave is just simply they seek other opportunities. Now, one thing I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel is that going into big law can open up so many opportunities for you outside of the law firm. So a lot of people leave big law for other opportunities because they are now very desirable to other employers. So, you know, some people go work for clients because they've worked with the client so much, the client is so impressed by their work, they want to bring them on their team internally. As a big law attorney, you're going to have legal recruiters scouring your firm's website looking for people to poach to go to other opportunities. You have people calling you every day. So if something that seems really awesome comes across your desk, you might go interview, you might get the job and leave the firm. So that is a huge one. You know, it's not always just negative reasons why people leave. Big law opens up a lot of opportunities, so you might go on to do something else. All right, the next reason why people leave big law is the long and unpredictable hours, okay? Working a lot and working at crazy times is not uncommon in big law. Actually, it's pretty normal. I think a lot of people work long hours, right? Especially as a lawyer, but it's the unpredictability that really gets people. You could be clicking along, having a good week, you know, a normal work week, 40-hour work week, and then Friday evening you get an email saying rush, and then you have to work the whole weekend, right? Or say, for example, it's Monday, right? You're having a slow Monday because you finished up everything you need to do the week prior, and you're kind of just clicking along. 3 o'clock, you get an email about something you need to address. So even though you've had a slow day all day, now it's 3 p.m. and now you have a ton to do. And so now you're working, you know, into the nighttime, into the evening. So it's just that unpredictability that people do not like, understandably so. And you know, working nights, working weekends is not uncommon. And even working on vacation and working through holidays, you know, that happens as well. So people don't like that, and so they go find something with a little bit better work-life balance. The next reason people leave is sometimes they don't mesh with the law firm's culture or the firm politics. You know, every law firm has its own culture, some better than others, and sometimes people just don't feel like they fit in with the culture and how, you know, people move and the firm politics. And that's really important to feel okay with the culture because these are the people that you're working with every day. You see these people more than you see your friends and your family sometimes because of the amount of hours that you spend working together. And so if you don't mesh well with the firm's culture or the politics of the firm, that won't work. Some people just, they can't do it. And so they go find a better workplace environment that is more fitting for them. Or sometimes they just don't even fit in with the ideals of the firm. Like, you know, the always having to be on call thing. Like some people are like, no, absolutely not. I want to be somewhere that, you know, kind of respects my time outside of work. So that's another reason. The next reason is they paid off their debt. It's commonly known that big law attorneys make good money. They're usually paid kind of top of the market salaries in comparison to other, you know, types of legal jobs. And so some people go into big law as a very strategic decision. So some people go into big law to say, hey, I have $100,000 in debt from law school. I don't want to be in debt for a very long time. Let me go work at X big law firm and make a ton of money and throw all that money towards my debt. And then once it's paid off, I will go find something more desirable and enjoyable and, you know, sustainable for my career. But for these first few years, I will work here so I can pay off my debt. Other people do it for similar reasons, and maybe not debt, but just the experience. Because at a big law firm, you're going to get some very substantive experience. So let me go here, learn a bunch of things, make myself marketable to other opportunities. So that's another reason. Okay, the next reason some people leave is the hierarchy. Now, I personally believe it's undeniable that there is a hierarchy in the law firm. As a junior lawyer, you're going to be doing very junior tasks. And some people don't like that. Some people want to jump right in and be first chair. Some people want to jump right in and be the leader of a deal. And that's not going to happen in a large organization. There's a process. Now, although some firms do better at mentoring and development, as a young attorney, you're just not going to be running the show. Sometimes when you go to smaller organizations, smaller law firms, you get to do a lot more earlier because the matters are a lot more smaller and they have less manpower. So you kind of just got to jump right in. So a lot of people don't like that and they just go somewhere else where they can get a little bit more hands-on sooner. And this doesn't just happen as a junior lawyer, right? Even as you get more senior, there's still going to be a hierarchy. Even in partnership, most firms have different tiers of partnerships. So there's always going to be some hierarchy in a law firm, and some people just don't like that. The next thing is mental health. Big law can have a huge toll on your mental health. You know, like for all the reasons I just named, it's stressful, demanding, working long hours. And these days, people are starting to prioritize self-care and mental health. So if it is deteriorating their mental health, many people are opting out of that sort of law firm life and finding ways to practice law in a way that better works for their schedule and the life that they want to live. So that's another reason why people leave big law. They want to find opportunities and roles that work better for the lifestyle that they want to have. The next reason people leave big law is they don't feel like they have the training and development that they need. It is very easy to be overlooked or forgotten in such a large organization. I mean, some of these firms have 1,000 attorneys. And so if you don't build a connection with somebody who kind of wants to take you under their wing, it can be easy to kind of get lost in translation. And so some people leave because they just never really found their footing in the big law firm, and they want a specific kind of training and development to ascend their career. Because it is my personal belief that as a young attorney, you need a mentor, you need someone who is invested in your career to teach you what you need to know to be the best attorney you can be. And this kind of segues into a specific reason why minority attorneys leave. I think there are a lot of reasons why minority attorneys leave. The legal profession as a whole is grossly unbalanced as it relates to minority attorneys. And it gets even worse in big law, right? Minority attorneys, even when they enter into these big law firms, they have a high attrition rate. And I personally believe that is for several reasons. But just kind of one of the main reasons I think is they feel overlooked, they don't feel included. As humans, we have a tendency to be attracted towards people who we resonate with or who we can relate to. So sometimes, you know, this old white male partner might not feel as comfortable taking, you know, the young Asian woman junior associate under his wing, whether the young white male that looks just like him, it feels a little bit more comfortable. I also think that in the legal profession, some people are in denial about the microaggressions that minority attorneys face or the struggles that they face. And they're just kind of ignorant to it. And so I think that's a huge thing. I think one of the biggest reasons why minority attorneys don't stay in law firms is because they don't feel included. They don't feel that it's an inclusive space for them. and they feel as if they have a harder battle. So that's another huge reason. I think actually I could probably do a whole separate video on minority attorneys in the legal profession, and specifically in big law, and why the attrition rates are so high. I know for me, there's been times when I've been the only Black attorney at a firm, or the only Black woman attorney at a firm, or a certain practice area or whatever. So I definitely think I could do a whole video on that. So if you are interested in that, let me know in the comments below and I'll work on something for that. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Honestly, there's a ton of reasons. And so for anybody who's watching who's ex-big law or in big law, please comment down below reasons why you think people leave big law. I really hope you guys found this video helpful. I'm so happy that I finally was able to film it. And please let me know if you have any questions, comments down below. Let's get to chatting. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. I have been posting a lot of content on Instagram, you guys. Like, my Instagram has been lit, okay? So y'all make sure you guys go follow me at _theaspiringboss, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.